I have been crocheting since Monday. I am nearly done. I'm just on the brim of the hat. I'm just on the brim of the hat. So if I just like roll this up, does that work? Nearly. It's nearly done. Nearly done. Oh, I'm only used to granny squares, like giant granny square blankets. I have an idea. Okay, so if I use this hat, can I put this on top? I just use that for now. That looks doable. It works. Just fine. Don't think about the thread. Still finishing it. That works. That works. I could just do a ton of like corns and just attach them to the hat. It's hilarious, the idea. And I don't have to worry about the brim. So, hi Shal. And hello to all you other wonderful weirdos witching. We are officially in October. My favourite. My favourite. I love October. Specifically for October, I said I was going to change the short story collection I was reading from. And I have this book of witches. Oh, it opens with a poem by Linda D. Addison called Seed of Power. We've been called many things: goddess, visionary, healer, sorceress, conjurer, enchanter, vixen, harlot, slut, hag, nasty. Knowing birth is death is rebirth. I can grow life within, a body pushed from my body. Knowing strength is power, is soft. I can choose my life within. Each awakening I return to self-love. Knowing my touch is soothing, is healing. I will not be forced to love. Each caress my choice to give. Upon a time I was a maiden, young, excited, full of possibilities. Today is the first day of the rest. Then I became mother, not defined by giving birth, but caring, protective patience. And now crone, not old, but elder, expanded with experience to share. In the past, burned at the stake by fear, fear of one who heals with gifts of herbs, communes with weather and animals, knowing the song of dreams and moon, not magic but miraculous. Today evolution marches forward, backwards, with the need to control, to stifle, to erase. Do not mistake my smile for consent. Do not mistake my silence for approval. Accept the truth. I am not less. I am more. I love that poem. I love that. I'm going to end up reading that over and over again just because it is quite beautiful, especially that thing at the end. Just the end, the second half is just quite necessary, unfortunately. But yeah, I wanted to open with that because the book opens with as a nice introduction of what is a witch by the editor Jonathan Strahan, and he's pulled all of these stories together of witchcraft on all its different forms across different cultures and spectrums. And yeah, and then we have an illustrator, Alyssa Winans, who has these little, if I could just flick to a page and stay on it, just these little images throughout, which is quite nice, and it breaks up the page beautifully. So the first story in this book is by I hope I say this right, P. Djèlí. Every time there's a dash above not letters, I kind of freak out. But yeah, P. Djèlí Clark. I'm not sure if the D is supposed to be silent. I think it's supposed to be silent, but it sounds like I'm saying jelly. So sorry. I'm very sorry. But the story that kicks this whole thing off after the poem is what I remember of Oresha Moondragon Devshrata. And so we start off in a lovely little fishing village as the story goes on, even the similes are fish related. It's actually quite interesting just how woven into the language. Just the attention to detail within this story is brilliant. It's like just around 25 to 28 pages long. Absolutely amazing story within. And it's very thorough in the just even the world building is like hinted at because we have some. This is a fantasy world because there are sky bisons. Oresha Moondragon Devshrata. She flies in on a balloon in a the basket was described as she landed, and she arrives alone into this fishing village, which already is odd because the traveling folk people, they usually come as a group and they come in with the sky bison. The sky bison. This is like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh, I hope there's avatars in this world. I really do. Just elemental benders would be absolutely brilliant. Even the creatures in this are described. They're just like thrown in as similes or as little tidbits of information. There's even a reference to the princelings of the 12 Isles, and I just want to know more of this world. I really do. But this woman, she lands in this peaceful little town. So she lands in this peaceful town, and her presence is what quite grand and gravitas. She's confident in herself, and it shows through the way she speaks, presents. She looks very different from everybody else because everybody in the fishing village has a particular style, and it's kind of the culture of this town is actually well thought through as a fishing village, and you can just smell it in the air, the culture of these people and this oddity that's landed in their town square. And you kind of hold your breath and go, is this an accepting group? Is this an accepting group? Until we get the little description of the usual way of workings is that the travelling folk come in a group on the outskirts of town, and everybody travels to go see them and start haggling prices and trading, and kind of quite welcoming, hopefully. Yeah, this is quite a oddity because she's just completely alone, and what she does is she basically, people, I am here to help you with the problems you can't deal with alone. And she says, there are people coming in boats. You will know them by the sound of their horn. They're black boats with their black sails to blend in with the landscape at night. They will come to destroy you, kill your people, and destroy your village. So we are following the perspective of a girl, but the ages are different. The girl is of 2 and 10. The woman is of 3 and 20, I think. So the aging system is different, which I want to know more of, but I don't get it. I really, just because I'm reading Ursula K. Le Guin's Planet of Exile, and the aging system is different in that as well, because the eldest person has witnessed 2 autumns and is about to see his 2nd winter. Yeah. So when it comes to different ways of tracking age, it interests me now. It does, it really does. And so I want to know I just want to know the aging system. And 2 of what? 10 of what? Oh, but yeah, I love this story, and I also heartbreak for this story because this woman comes in, everybody's welcoming. Do please help us with this problem, because I was half expecting them to not believe her, but they do believe her. They welcome her in. This girl who we are following asks, how are you going to do it? And so she's going to build a champion for the village. And the village says, what do you want in return? What do you want as payment? It's like, a home, to a place in your village. So they get to work in building her a house, which is the second biggest building on the hilltop. The first biggest would be the mayor's house, but that also is biggest because it's also the inn and it houses several shops as well. So she does technically have the biggest house now. And yeah, the mayor is quite welcoming. The mayor sticks up for her later on. And yeah, they get to work in building this giant champion. They build an iron giant, kind of. They build a wood that, when treated right, is as hard as steel, as hard as metal. And so yeah, she doesn't let anybody near the heart because it's delicate, and she's like piecing it together, and it's like this clockwork man. So we have this clockwork giant man robot in on the dock, and they're all gathered around. Our the girl that we follow, she is called to the front. Ostrata, Moon Dragon Devshrata, gives her some magic in her fingers, and then she goes up, climbs a ladder, and then just touches the clockwork heart and let the magic through her to start up the heart, start up the clockwork. And yeah, things calm down a bit since then. Time passes. Nothing happens yet. But in that time, the villagers, they kind of start seeing omens everywhere. It's just like, even the cunning woman, who is typically seen with white hat, a white bonnet of some kind, even the concept of the cunning women, it's kind of giving off Wheel of Time wisdom. I really should read the Wheel of Time now. But yeah, we have this town just starting to notice some things going wrong, and it kind of gave off the energy that if you're in a bad mood, everything will go wrong, but if you're in a good mood, everything will seem like it's going your way. It's like, it's that kind of thing where it's always going to go wrong if you're in a bad mood. It's like, because you're kind of seeing all of the bad things and not witnessing all of the good things. You're not paying the good things attention. That's how it felt. Like, oh yeah, I had such a good catch, but it just jumped out my hands and back into the sea. There was a hole in my net, and the net weaver is the best of the village. I always buy my nets from him, and they've never had a hole in them before. Yeah, so the town starts filling this room of the inn with all these stories, because the twins that used to follow her around are a bit, envious that she's no longer paying them attention, because she's taken the niece of the mayor into her beloved arms. Yeah, the witch is in fact in a queer relationship now, since the ceremony of the Clockwork Man, of the champion. And yeah, everybody, including the twins, kind of stopped cheering around them. And I kind of just, this isn't about an odd woman, this is about LGBTQ being viewed as wrong. because the moment she kisses a woman in public, it's like the mood starts shifting downwards because she's welcomed and embraced up until that point. And yeah, so the twins who had followed her around, even dressed up eccentrically like her, and yeah, they kind of worshipped her. And the twins, seeing that, they were just like bitterly spouting about all of the things they've seen. She's cursing the town because the town is kind of like laughing at them. They never paid much heed to them. But then after that night in the inn, they had all of the stories from all of the villagers about everything that's going wrong, and it must be a bad omen because it's going through what the twins are saying. Yeah, she is cursing us. And so the twins, who nobody really paid much heed to beforehand, they're kind of lapping up all of the stories of what they've seen now, because everybody's talking about how the witch is wrong now. And it's interesting to see how one giant talking session of all of the things that is going wrong in the world is kind of turned and put on one person, because it must be witchcraft, but it kind of comes to a head in this scene when the cunning woman, I forget her name. I don't want to remember the name. Ugh. She stands up and says, "I delivered twins the other day, both the cleft lip." And the girl who we're following, we get her mindset of everybody knows a cleft lip is a bad omen, and just all of the things that go wrong after a cleft lip is seen, and everybody is shocked by the idea of this bad omen that suddenly appeared twice after so long of not seeing it. All of a sudden we get it twice. Oh dear, it's the witch. And the mayor stands up and speaks out, going, "No, this is just talk, and that's all it is. Things are just going wrong right now. Just because we are experiencing a bad catch here and there does not make it Miss Devshrata's fault." Miss Devshrata. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. It's just because of the vowels in my brain are just moving every time I attempt to think of the word. Yeah, Devshrata. Eventually I'll get it right. But here's the thing. It gets to a point where even the children, as our protagonist, so she's playing around the champion's legs with her friends, and it's called Which Fall in a Ditch. And the last child to fall down gets pelted with snowballs. And there's a lovely little line about the cruelty of children. This is done very skillfully in knowing how people work individually and as a group. Because, yeah, so this group of children is kind of egging each other on, being mean to each other because they're saying, "Oh, the witch, this thing is useless, this champion." And then it basically turns upon our protagonist, our following perspective is, and says, "Can't believe somebody actually worshipped her and actually went along with it, calling upon her starting up the Clockwork Man." Yeah. Well, and then she basically fights back, going, "You're nothing but you're exactly like your father. He will be all talk about how much he is against the witch, and yet when she passes him, he will walk by head down. All talk, no bite." And so the boy gets it in his head he's going to climb the clockwork man, and turn him off, which goes very badly because he slips on the ice and breaks his leg when he falls to the ground. They all are up in arms immediately because they pull him into the inn, and the cunning woman asks what's going on, and the other children are going, it's the witch, we were just talking about the witch. And then he got it in his head somehow, it's got to be the witch that put it in his head that he's got to climb the man, and he fell off the man. Eventually we get to a point where the cunning woman is just like, no, he fell. What happened? Did he fell exactly like you're saying? And all the children are nodding their heads, and then all eyes go to our perspective. I have got to read this bit. This is just absolutely, oh. I think it was the witch, a boy trembled. My ma says she can make people do things, like she made the brats do things. The twins, who were standing nearby, quickly agreed, launching into one of their tirades that people now earnestly listen to. Cora Gillish raised a hand for quiet. He fell? ? She asked. The girl nodded. He was climbing just fine, then something just happened, I think. She paused. I think the giant might have moved. There were fresh gasps now, and Cora Gillish frowned deep. She turned her glare to us, as on the table Jane whimpered through clenched teeth. All of you saw this. The others all nodded in turn. Then all eyes came to me. I stood there confused. I hadn't seen any witchery. A stupid boy had tried to climb the clockwork giant and fell. I certainly never saw it move. But Bora Gillish's glare was on me. Everyone's eyes were on me, even my mother's. I knew those faces waited on me to tell them not what I saw, but what they believed I saw. And it was so much easier to give them what they wanted. Under that pressure that seemed to pound in my ears, I found my head moving in a nod and wondered perhaps this was some other strange form of witchery. It was like a spark. The inn erupted with angry shouts. The witch had done this. Just the following words of them rallying together. Chair legs are broken off. They get their torches and pitchforks. They go to the witch's house that they built because they think it's... they want to drive her from the town. They basically remove her from the town. They remove her from her house. They remove Aggie Mass, who was with her all this time, and they start pelting it with stones. They go back on their pact. They break their promise. They burn the house down. They ransack the inside, burn it down, and then they go, the witch is next. What do we do? The cunning woman basically shouts above everybody and goes, she came from the sea, she must be returned to the sea. And on the way to the sea, the Vasa kind of turn up, as prophesied by the witch, with the loud horn in their boats, armoured dogs, giant armoured dogs which they ride. Yep, literally bang on cue. They are ready to be ransacked. Yeah. And so the witch calls her spell, the clockwork man, the champion, awakens and does his thing. The story is not about attack on the village. The story is about town superstition and what people will do to just women who are here to help but they view everything that's going wrong around them as part of that. And yeah, the town become ashamed of themselves because the Vasa weren't the true monsters. They have seen the ugliness within themselves. They let the witch go. The witch goes to the champion, helps Aggie up with her, and the witch is just stood on champion's shoulders as the champion walks off. The travelling folk also never return to the village. There's rumours about what happened to Oresha, Moondragon, Devshrata, and we are left as this story being told by an old woman who will tell it to anybody who asks about the statue that was put up in the middle of the town square of the champion. But the witch's name, lost to time, lost to... because nobody dare say it. Nobody dare build where her house was. No. This was a very powerful story about how, I'm going to quote Men in Black here, a person is smart, but people are dumb. People can be very dumb, and people will see what they want to see. They don't even ask for explanations from the woman up on the hill. They don't. Even the cunning woman didn't go and demand an explanation. That should have been part of it. But no, they just go and just like say, we are tired of your witchcraft. We want you gone. And Mr. Devshrata is just, so you're going back on your pact then? There's nobody not even asking what this is all about, because there's no point even asking. Yeah, a town blinded by their hate, let it consume them. So yeah, this was a very thorough story. It was really good. I did enjoy it. I just got, saddened by it as well. It just, when you kind of part of a minority that is being persecuted like this, it does sadden you that it just takes a few bad omens to make people hate you even more and drive you from their village. Oh, it's a good thing I left my village. I wonder what they would have made of me if I continued down the trajectory I went down. But that's this week's short story. It was a powerful one. Don't drive people out. They just want to live. They just want a home. They just want to get on with their lives in peace. This does show the ugly side of humanity when it comes to LGBTQ stuff. It is sad. It is very sad. I absolutely loved the writing style, just how this village came to life within the words. It was brilliant. I want to look up more of Clark's work just because this was really good. I want to know more because this felt like the beginnings of a bigger story. Like, there could be so much more to this world because of just how rich it felt, and I want to know more. But yeah, that's this week's short story. Bye, Shal, and bye to all you other wonderful weirdos witching.